points for Alli, tied a program record with 10 made threes. What was it like watching her out there catch fire in the second half?
Anna was saying on the way down here that Alli tied the school record for 10 made threes. I said, I know, I saw all of them. I was here for all of them. And while they're happening, you don't really, you're not counting like, hey, that's 5, that's 6. But the number isn't as impressive to me as watching her just play with so much confidence and shoot the ball. That's the Alli that I saw in high school. That's the Alli that I saw every summer. That's the kid that we recruited, and why we recruited her, because I think she's a tough kid. She's good with the ball in her hands. She's smart. And, it's just been fun watching her. She had a great week of practice. And, when you do that, it tends to follow you in games.
Kind of on that same note, just kind of what is going through your head as you're watching them start to fall for her, especially after you guys start 1 for 13 or whatever it was?
Yeah, I think we started 0 for 9, didn't we? Something like that. And then she made the first one, right? Yeah, I mean, I see it every day in practice. We do these shooting drills, and it's the same in practice with her. When they start going in, I mean, they all go in. It was great the way KK, Heckle, and those guys, they kind of set her up pretty good, for a couple of them. As I said, I'm happy for her. I'm thrilled. The kids on our team are, they're crazy happy for her right now. She's got a lot of friends on the team. She's one of those kids that mixes with everybody. So I'm thrilled for her.
Your next game is in February. How important is it for this time of year for players like that to kind of start figuring it out and start playing to their capabilities?
Yeah, we've tried to make a concerted effort to test some of these guys and find out, how they're going to react. Even though, it's January at home, it's not March on the road in an NCAA tournament game, but still, I think at this time of the year, you just want to be playing with a lot of confidence. You want to be feeling good about yourself. The score is the score, and I tell my players this all the time. We can win 90 to 30, but if you play lousy, you're happy we won, but you're not really a happy camper going home. So I think that the object is to play really well and have that kind of confidence. And it'll carry over. It'll carry over to Sunday, and it'll carry over to next week. And, the more players that we have that feel like that, I think the harder we're going to be to play against.
Coach, you spoke about Alli's confidence tonight. Is that something that has been her biggest improvement from this year?
I would say so. I've talked to her about it, and she's told me on a number of occasions that when she was in high school, she had a tendency to kind of just sit back and wait to see what happens, and then if they needed her to do stuff, she would do it. But here, I think she spent all of last year like, oh, wow, I'm playing with Paige Beckers and Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd. Wow. She's spent way more time being starstruck than actually playing. And we had a little conversation this year, and I said, you know, who do you defer to? She said, Izzy and Sarah. I said, well, Izzy's leaving at the end of this year. Who you going to defer to next year? She said, I don't know, Sarah and Blanca maybe, I don't know. Like she's in that mindset. I said, why? She said, well, they're all Americans. I said, well, last time I checked, you were a high school All-American too. Sometimes kids forget how good they are, and they need to be reminded. You wouldn't be here if you weren't really good. So hopefully this is a great boost for her confidence.
Geno, the week of practice that you alluded to, and then, of course, the confidence tonight, is that for her kind of a bounce out of the Georgetown game where maybe she struggled a little bit?
You know, I don't know because well, the Georgetown game was Thursday, and so it's been a week. But I thought she was practicing pretty well before that, and I was surprised that she struggled a little bit. But it just kept up. I mean, since we got back from, you know, her look and her approach, since we got back from Seton Hall, has been really, really good. And I think kids are prideful. You know, they want to play well, and they want to. I want to say, they feel like, all right, coach trusts me to give me some minutes in real important times on the road, you know, Georgetown, Seton Hall, and I don't want to waste them. I don't want him going, okay, I gave her a shot and she don't have it. You know, I think you want to prove yourself that I can, because we talk a lot about that. I said, look, when the end of the season comes, all I'm doing right now these last 4 months is I'm trying to find out who I can trust in the biggest games, and you're going to have to earn that. It's not going to be automatic, and you know, we're paying attention to everything you guys do, and you're going to have to earn it. So hopefully this is a big moment for her. But she's so much more than a shooter too. She just has a low-key personality, you know, but she's more than just a shooter.
On that same note, you mentioned her the ability to come in and transform or change a game. We think she may have scored the most points from a reserve in program history. Just what makes a good reserve for you? What do they need to do to prove that they can go into the game and change it?
I just think it's the way they carry themselves, you know, and what they expect when they're out there. Whether they're going to be aggressive enough in looking for shots, whether they're going to be, they're not going to be hesitant at all to make a play, to do the things that they know they're good at. That's what frustrates me sometimes about our big guys. You know, they work on some stuff in practice, and then they go in a game and they do something completely different. It drives me crazy. So I think that the look, the feel, you know, it just passes the eye test that this particular person is ready to go, or that person is not ready, or that one's over her whatever struggle she had. That one's in a slump. I mean, you don't need stats to show you that. You know, you can just feel it.
On a night where shots aren't falling for AZ, you know, 1 for 7 from 3, what are you looking for from her to make an impact on the game, and what does it say about her as both a leader and just a great overall player?
Yeah, no, that was a really, really difficult night for AZ. I don't know that she's 100% all there right now. I think we've had, you know, we've had guys just, you know, stuff runs through your team, you know, throughout the season. So she didn't look like she was all there. But her presence on the floor is worth a lot, because the other team doesn't know that she's going to miss the next 7. They just think we got to guard her, and our team doesn't think she's going to miss the next 7. So there's it'll be something that just happens. But you got to play the game too. You got to get involved and do the other things. Ashlin Shade had nine steals tonight. You got to make yourself a factor. Heckle had a great game today. And during the first half, it's not like we didn't know this. Okay, we're struggling. We can't make a shot. So during one timeout, it almost reminded me when I was coaching the USA 18 and under team. Guys are launching shots from everywhere. And I called timeout. I said, no one's allowed to shoot until Diana says you can shoot. Sometimes kids think, Coach, let me shoot my way out of this slump. Okay, but not all of you at the same time. So you always need somebody there to bail you out, right the ship, so to speak. And I thought Sarah's first quarter, and it's just so easy, isn't it? It just makes it look so effortless that we're not even talking about it, right? It's crazy. What'd she shoot from the floor? Sarah Strong, 10 for 14. So between the two of them today, they were 25 for 29? No, 21 for 29. It's pretty good, huh? That's pretty good.
Coach, how does the depth of this year's team compare to some of the other great teams that you've had in the past? And how much easier or even possibly challenging is it for you as a coach to get, people the minutes in certain spots in certain games?
Well, when you have a lot of players, you hope that they're different from each other. They're not the same. And we've been fortunate to have both. We've had national championship teams where we had 10 players and they were all first-round draft picks, and it was fun to coach them, but it was also really hard to play that many players, And we've won national championships like last year where some years where you don't have that and you just have to make do with what you have. This team, at the beginning, it started out like we have a lot, but you're trying to figure out there's only 200 minutes in a game. And then you have a night like tonight where all of a sudden guys are missing, and you look out there and there's more guys in warm-ups than there are playing. So as much as it's a challenge trying to get people minutes, it's worse sitting there looking down and going, I wish I had a couple more guys to put in.
You didn't have Sarah Williams tonight, no Blanca tonight. What happened with them, and how long do you think they might be out?
You remember early in the season when Blanca had that shoulder thing where she tweaked it? So that's a I don't know. It's not long term for sure. I think the last time she did it, what she missed? One exhibition game and then our opener. She missed like a week, not even. I forget what it was. But this one's not as bad as that one. So, could be 3 days, could be 5 days, who knows. And Sarah just drove in the lane, She had this Giannis moment, She thought, I'm going to go in there and do this and that, and just tweaked her ankle a little bit. So I know she really wants to play on Sunday, so I'm planning on that.
You touched on it a little bit, but you got pretty good nights from all your sophomores tonight with Alli, and then a typical Sarah night, and Heckle has career highs in rebounds and assists. Just kind of, do you ever look at that group on the floor and think about what it could be in a year or two?
Yeah. Somebody's going to have a great time coaching them. Whenever I think about our team, I'm always like, wow. It's wow moments for me at how young we are as a team. You don't think of it that way because, AZ's been here forever, and Sarah Williams is here as a senior, And you look out on the floor, and a lot of times there are a lot of underclassmen out there. And then when you throw Blanca into the mix, she's another young kid. She's a freshman. So they need reps. They need playing time. They need to feel successful. They need to have nights like tonight. I thought Heckle was great. KK was really good, obviously, but you know, that's you want to win the game, but you want to also do things that set you up for the rest of this year and the future too.
So Sunday, you guys obviously faced Tennessee. I'm old enough to remember when the Tennessee-UConn rivalry was a really big deal as compared to now Notre Dame with you guys. How do you kind of look at this game, given they're a little bit down? And also, do you think back to the old days when it was you and Pat and how big the rivalry was?
Yeah. You know, every great scenario in sports generally involves two teams that manage to create these big moments, or two fighters or two golfers or two swimmers. You know, somebody's got to have somebody that they respect a lot and that they're fighting with all the time. And that's kind of how it was. You know, we knew playing them was going to be hard. They knew playing us was going to be hard. It seemed like whoever won that game early in the season was going to be pretty good idea that whoever won that game was going to win a national championship. It's not that anymore. Things have changed. Lots happened since then. But they're still a really good team, and they still beat us last year at their place. So it may not carry the same weight now as, you know, Notre Dame, South Carolina, you know, those games. But it's still, like you said, it's still a big memory in people's minds of what it used to be like, you know. And it's funny that we're having all this snow and everything. I remember Governor Rowland driving ban. It snowed so much. I don't want any trucks. I don't want any cars on the road. We get to the game, and okay, so 2,000 people didn't come. There's like 14,000 people at the game, and he's sitting right behind our bench. So some people were allowed on the road, but it was a big event. Big event. Everybody was anticipating that event. Things change. You know, Steelers Cowboys used to be a big event. Me too. Yeah. Niners and somebody used to be a big event. You know. Yeah. Cowboys. Yeah, I remember my grandfather telling me that they were good. And he was in Italy. Dead.
Geno, when
It's the
Ashlin,
only thing that the National League East, the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Giants have in common. We all hate the Cowboys.
when Ashlin came to UConn, she was a big-time shooter. What's the growth been for her? Because it seems like this year she's impacting the game even when the shots aren't going down, whether it's making the right pass, getting rebounds, getting 9 steals. It's like she's just a real solid presence on the floor.
You know, when Ash got here, I do think her identity of herself was I score. So the problem she ran into a lot of times freshman years, if I'm not scoring, I have no idea how can I impact this game. So little by little, her defense has gotten better. She wants to be an offensive rebounder. She's become a much better passer. And I think just playing here, this is her 3rd year, and realizing that an impact is what you came here for. Hey, I'm going to UConn so I can score 30 points a game. No. Or I'm going there to tie records for scoring or make 10 threes a game. I'm going to UConn because I want to have an impact on winning championships. And early on, I can do one thing, make shots. And that wasn't going to be enough to keep you here and keep you in the lineup and play more. So little by little, she's a much better basketball player now than when she first got here. And nobody works harder than her, so I'm always rooting for her. I mean, I'm really hard on her, but I'm silently rooting for her because she does work so hard. And I think last year, was it last year or the year before? She led the team in minutes played. Man, I trust her to a point. Not like with my life, but I trust her. Like Sarah Strong, like I trust her with my life. Ash isn't there yet. All right, guys. We'll see you Sunday.